man, that it got into some depth. It was like, and even though it's talk, like you said, it's talk. It's not action. It's not. There's very little action in Tokyo Revengers. Don't go in there thinking you're gonna see gang wars and stuff every day. It's like,
Wake up to reality. Nothing ever goes as planned in this accursed world. The longer you live, the more you will realize that the only things that truly exist in this reality are merely pain, suffering, and futility.
Tokyo Revengers.
Ooh, one of my favorites, and it's. I will say this: Tokyo Revengers. If you haven't seen it, it is a lot of talking. I will not lie to you and sit here and say it's not a lot of talking. We've talked about this how it maybe talks a little too much sometimes, um, and that happens a lot for sure. Because so if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert, here we go. Basically, with Tokyo Revengers, so Takamichi's he's probably the biggest crybaby I've ever seen in anime. But when you look at his like life of
Second,
second,
second
who you got
biggest
first?
crybaby. Medora, man. Come
Oh,
on,
okay.
man.
All
My
right.
Hero Academia. That boy can't go 2 seconds without shedding some tears, man.
I've seen more seasons
He's
of it,
like,
so it's
remember
not
when we
fair.
went to school together? Medora, bro. That's the
All
number
right.
one crybaby in everything, bro.
Well,
He has
Takamichi will
perpetual
be number
tears
two
coming
then.
out.
All right. He's a
Yeah,
second
I
runner
believe
up.
Taka can do stuff too.
So pretty much it starts off not what I kind of expected. I mean, he's the main character. He's pretty much a nobody, I guess. Like kind of he wants to be that cool kid and that cool thing and all that stuff, but it's not really his crew and all that. And I mean the first season, and if you haven't seen them, I mean I'm not going to touch on everything that happens a lot because of a lot of the talking, but the main part is of course why he's doing what he's doing, and when you start to figure out, pretty much his I guess the love of his life, Hinata, is she keeps well she ends up spoiler alert dying in a car accident, and so it comes to fruition that her little brother Naito is I believe they run into each other and he saves him, and then he ends up they end up having like I guess it's a power, I don't know what it like where he can send Takamichi back.
So the way it works in their time skips, right? It's
Yeah,
12 years. You can send them back 12 years, right? So it's not necessarily the moment that she dies, because she dies later on. Hinata dies later on. But the way it's summarized is that her brother, you said the name and then I lost the damn name of him. He's actually a fixed point in time, so he doesn't change. His his the way it works, the way the wormhole works is that her brother is a point fix in time. So and then Takemichi is basically like the jumper that can go between the two times 12 years, right? So
yeah,
anytime that he touches him, it resets his timeline. So it resets him back to a timeline. But her brother remains all the memories. Like they done it. They alluded in season 2 that they've done it more than one, because we've only seen twice that he went back in season 1. But the way it made it seem like they've done it multiple times over. Because remember, he
yeah,
said no matter how many times I go back, because we always say how many times I go back instead of saying like, oh, the last 2 times we went back. I'm so lost. Like it keeps happening
yeah,
and over and over. But yeah, the way he says it, like it's like something that they've been experimenting over and over and over with. But yeah, you got it pretty good going. He's basically, if anybody's seen Memories, he's just going back into the past, trying to fold over the bad mistakes that happened in his past, so that it can correct the mistakes of his his crush dying. I don't even think they were dating. I think he was just his crush at the time. Well, whenever she died, I think it was his
Yeah, when
crush.
she died, yeah.
And yeah, so it's like how do they get that to go? And her brother is that fixed point in time that allows him to go back over and over, because her brother doesn't move. He's at that point, and both Hicks like any type of theory, any type of like time skip theory, there is always like a one point. So like if you watch any type of time travel movie, you'll always notice like there's a wormhole like in the middle of the garden, right? That sends you into that point. That's that fixed point in time that you're always going back, right? Like in Back to the Future, the DeLorean. The DeLorean itself is the fixed point in time. So the DeLorean doesn't change no matter which way Marty McFly goes. The DeLorean will always be the DeLorean that will send him back in time or send him forward in time, whichever way he's going, right? Which everybody knows you can't go forward, you can't go backwards. So that being said, yeah, absolutely, man. I think you hit it in the head. Sorry, man. I just just trying to get some context on how
No, you're good.
bubble there. Because I'm gonna throw something at you at the end. I'm gonna throw something at you at the end, and I'm gonna see what your reaction is for that. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're. It's interesting because I mean, going from the first season, I mean, you have of course he ends up joining the gang, the Tokyo Manjin gang, and it's interesting how he gets there though. It shows his story, of course, and of pretty much a nobody, and then ends up working his way up all the way to the ranks. But like you said, the ripple effects of how he's doing it keep playing a part. So of course you have the leader, Mikey, and then of course you have Dragon. Those are like the two fan favorites that everybody has. And then you end up getting your 8 division, but it has more of like the feel in the first season where it's that kind of like OG, like this is who they grew up with, and I like it because you start to learn their story, and I think of course for season 2 it really came important to know like Baji and then because as you know they end up pretty much going up against other gangs a few times for turf and for respect and to keep growing.
For season 1,
then,
right? Yeah, for season 1, right?
Yeah.
This is season 1 that you're talking about.
Yeah. So it's going into season 2. I mean, now where we're at, the way it ended was season 1 with basically Takamichi being tied up, and I mean, I believe he's already a vice captain in the gang, and he already has authority. He has a vice captain under him also, and there's always the one guy that's always pretty much tied to him, and it's Teta Kisaki, or I believe the one with the glasses. And he seems to be like the middleman of everything, just because of before when they were fighting. It was in season 1 they were fighting a gang, and I know Mikey ended up saying he wanted him to join him, and so he ends up becoming like a key aspect of the anime of kind of like, I don't want to say his villain, but pretty much of a key story. And the only reason why I bring him up is because in season 2, once he looks at Takamichi tied up, he literally looks at him and says, like, you're my hero and I have to kill you. And sure enough, that's what happens. But he wakes up, and it's kind of that weird feeling because you never really seen him die in the anime. You've only really seen him get beat up a few times and like pass out and sleep. And so this time you think he got shot completely, but whenever he wakes up, he's kind of tied up outside under a bridge, and you see a guy standing there. And so you got to remember, it's time skips, so people look a lot different right now. And honestly, like when the guy was standing there, even me, like he got me when he was like, oh man, that's Baji. Like, if you didn't know, Baji ended up pretty much dying in the first season. So you're like, oh, something happened, time skip, it's him. Come to find out, it's not Baji, it's Kazutora, that pretty much the guy that killed Baji, the best friends, ended up really being the one that it is. And he pretty much saved him, but it wasn't a save like he said. He goes, I didn't save you because I wanted to save you. He goes, I saved you because I need you to help me fix the gang that we built, the gang that Baji wanted it to be. And it was one of those things where, one, you're accepting the fact that one of the guys that pretty much you felt bad for at the end of the season because of the mistakes he made pretty much led him where he was at. And then Baji pretty much giving his life up for him to have a second chance. And then that's when the turmoil of how Mikey's run the gang and how he's pretty much MIA, and it's just they're doing all this crime. I believe it was like, sex trafficking, there was drugs, there was beating women, there was all types of stuff. And so he ends up telling Takamichi, like, I need you to help me. We're going to save this. And so he, of course, is like, you know what, I'll help. He goes, I don't know how it happened, because he always seems to not know where he's at, like what's happening. So he always has to ask questions about, like, why are we here? Like, how did this happen? And they look at him kind of funny because they're like, dude, what are you talking about? You're a part of this. But it's because, like you said, those time skips where he's having to jump back into it. And so when he finally does jump into it, they're in the car talking, and he ends up taking him pretty much to meet Naoto, which is now pretty much, I guess, what, an older cop now, like more of a 20s, 30s, I would guess, because he's been a cop pretty much every time.
Mid 20s, maybe 23,
Yeah.
24. Because he's like supposed to be like a genius, remember? He's like a
Yeah.
genius, so I think he probably did everything really early.
Yeah, so he ends up meeting him, and he ends up telling him basically, like, here he is, he wants to meet you. And you end up finding out that Naito pretty much, it was a trick just to get Takamichi there. But you find out why. He takes him in, he arrests him, and he shows him a video of him pretty much being like, it really didn't even look like him when I first saw it. I had to like pay attention a little more. And he says it, he goes, is that me?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, that's you. And he's telling somebody to go and kill somebody. And he's like, who? And he goes, doesn't matter. I need you to kill somebody, and this and that. And comes to find out that the person he killed in that time stamp is pretty much his crush, the girl he likes. And so it's really like a defeated moment, because, I mean, this is a guy that's seen his girl, or the girl he loves, pass pretty much a few times now. And every time he saves her, she ends up dying still. And so I think that's why the defeat in him happened. But it did seem like it happened a lot more the way he made it sound than what it was. Because you see, like, most of the episodes in one, it will talk about the whole story, and then boom, something happens, and then a whole story, then boom, something happens. And so for me, when it ended, I mean, we get another time skip pretty much in the first episode already. And he's basically telling him, he's like, I need you to go and, deal with this other gang, because, and I believe they're the Black Dragons, or the gang that they're going to be going, I guess, up against, or yeah. And so it's setting up them for this one.
So yeah, it seems like there is a multiple time skips that we were a part of. So it seems like they've done it multiple times. That's why when I said, like, hey, what is this? Like he said, every time I go back, because yeah, like you said, he's having no memory. And when we last left off, he wasn't no vice lord. He had gained up to captain, but that was it. And then this one is like he's getting further and further into the game. and making his way. And Naota's, tracking them, making sure, his progress and everything. And, so yeah, it was unfortunate that they did what happened to him. He got set up. It was planned. It was premeditated for him to take out Hina and to take out another one of his buddies. And he took him out. But it was all a setup. So we have to find out why he was set up. And
Yeah.
little is let go. And then what's his name? Kazatora. He got out of prison. He said he tracked down the money. He knows where the black dragon or where Kazi's, holding his money, how he's getting paid now. So they're slowly getting into it. But I wonder what happened to Mikey. Did they say what happened to Mikey? Like, did he die?
All they said
Or like
was,
Mikey, like evil, right? Like or something like
yeah,
that.
he
Like
went like
Mikey's
he went
like
once.
he didn't.
Once Dragon went to prison for life. Mikey kind of went down the hole because Dragon was really the only one that could keep him in line, and of course all the people that are pulling the strings behind him is kind of the reason why. And you kind of see how like important Dragon and Mikey as a unit are together in it, especially in this episode where they're just like, he went straight down the rabbit hole after that because Tada Kiyosaki or one and just I guess pulling strings, and he keeps being that one person in every time hole that is causing some kind of problem in some way. I know, like in this one, he killed Shifu. Yeah, I mean he killed actually a lot of people, but and well, he did say though that Mikey was killing all the originals. That was one thing they
Yeah,
did say
yeah,
that
yeah.
he was
That's
killing all the originals. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Like he was like that. Mikey was killing everybody from the old Dragon gang or from the old gang because he
yeah,
didn't trust anybody. So kind of making it sound like he's cleaning house, the old mafia style.
yeah.
It's straight out of the textbooks of the Corleone, man. Like they taking out their old members, man, to save some face. So we'll see what happens. But this is what I was gonna say. My theory is the butterfly effect. And did you ever watch that movie with Ashton Kutcher, The Butterfly
Ashton Kutcher.
Effect?
Yeah,
And I believe this is the butterfly effect, an anime version with games, and it's gonna end up like. And this is my prediction for the very end. I haven't read the manga or nothing, so. But the very end is gonna be where he has to like totally ignore Hina in order to save her life. He has to like completely just walk away from everything, and therefore it saves her in the end, and therefore the ending of the ending of the manga. So my predictions are there right there. So I'll just throw that out there. That's the way I see it. I see it like it's gonna be like a butterfly effect. He just has to walk away completely in order to
yeah.
save Hina's life. You know, because they're all hoodlums. So I mean, hey,
It,
they're Japanese hoodlums, like 12 years old doing hard crime. Stabbing guys.
yeah.
Like 12-year old, like getting into Royal Rumbles and stuff like that.
It,
Like,
it's funny because
the craziness of
yeah,
anime.
and you start to
Sometimes,
like when you see them fighting, like it's pretty cool. Like I mean, because you still got to remember some of these are kids, young adults still, and like you said, they're fighting with knives and on bikes, hitting each other and having gang wars, and it's like what the. But I feel
they're
like
like doing these martial arts and knocking
yeah,
people 15 feet in the air.
like nobody wants to mess with Mikey. He's the baddest guy in the neighborhood, and it's just
Right? Mikey doing a double fisted kick in the air like a hydra.
oh
It's like an upside down. We call it a donkey kick, man. And, in martial arts, it's like where you drop to your feet, you drop to
oh
your
yeah,
hands, and then you like kick your feet really hard, double feet, and it's a donkey kick. and Mikey be doing like donkey kicks in the high rise and stuff, like to the chin, and knocking people 20 feet in the air, and knocking 10 feet back. Dude, it's just I love watching that, man, because it's just so unrealistic in so many ways. It's just
Yeah.
it makes me laugh so much. But yeah, I think actually overall I liked the episode. I think it was a banger. I definitely give it a 4.5 out of 5 on my scale. I told you before, man. I honestly prefer, and I was surprised. I honestly prefer Tokyo Revengers over Vinland this time around because I was like, hey, man, that it got into some depth. And it was like, hey, even though it's talk, like you said, it's talk. It's not action. It's not. There's very little action in Tokyo Revengers. Don't go in there thinking you're gonna see gang wars and stuff every day.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
nah. You see Tamakichi cry every day, man. That boy like Medora, man. That boy cannot leave a room without shedding some tears over something. Even at the very end, man, when they were voting, he's like tearing up, man. It's like, dude, man, like, get
Yeah.
over it, man. So yeah, man, absolutely. But I like it, man. It's a good one. I love the art style. It's one of my favorite things. I love the art style. It's two-dimensional art. It's not that 3D bull that we've been seeing a lot lately in anime. So I'm glad they're going back to it because man, for a good 5 years, man, some reason somebody got a good idea that everybody wanted to watch 3D anime, man, and that's
No.
horrid, man. It's one of the
Yeah.
worst things in anime is watching the 3D anime. I haven't found one yet that I enjoyed. That's how bad it is. I
Yeah.
really can't. I can't do it.
It,
It's like
it went through.
what did I tell you? It's like watching old '90s cartoons,
Yeah.
3D
It's
animation.
it's like, nah, I'm all right. Yeah, I don't. I'm not a
Yeah.
fan of that new. I don't even know what it is. I guess art or form of anime. They can keep that over. Don't
Oh
ruin
no,
any of our
yeah.
good anime.
Oh no, they did. I told you, give me a 2 minute rant. Give me a 2 minute rant. So guess what came out today? It came out today. It's called Trigun, one of my favorite animes of all time. Trigun Bash to Stampede, right?
Yeah.
They remade it. Well, someone got the bright idea to remake it into a 3D animation. They made it into 3D. It is horrible. It is disgusting. It is everything wrong with the anime industry and just turning over. I don't know. They got the westernized thing where they have to remake things when they don't need to. Man, there's like over a bazillion manga that you could literally walk into a manga store, close your eyes, grab one, pull one out, and make it into an anime. Like that's how easy it is to pick up material.
Yeah.
So they made it into it, and it's disgusting and it's awful. I watched one episode and I was like, "This is trash. Throw it away." Downvoted it and hope they never show it again. And I love Trigon. I love it. Like if
Yeah.
I ever got tattoos, it would be one of my favorite. I would have a Trigon tattoo. That's how much I love Vash the Stampede. But I can't do it, man. I can't do that in a 3D animation. It's horrible. So yeah. Predictions for next episode on Tokyo Revengers. Nick, what do you think?
I do feel we're gonna get a view of Mikey more than likely. We saw him in the bowling alley, um, with bowling, having fun, and he ends up running into some of the members of the Black Dragon. So it seems they're in a collision course for sure. I do feel that we'll probably get a side of Mikey or a side of Dragon, but it kind of one thing with this episode, or at least with this anime, is I don't feel like anybody's ever dead in the anime because of the time skips and, like you said, the butterfly effect theme of it. So every time you skip, something could happen. So I feel like with the beginning of them, I do see at some point we maybe get a Baji at like a later on episode for sure. But I do think for sure Mikey and you'll get a dragon, and you'll see that Shifu's back, probably helping him out, and well, we know we may get another time skip again. Who knows? How this? It's what 12 episodes, I believe, only.
13 episodes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be 13 episodes. Yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna get a little more insight. It's gonna go back to he has a task in hand. He got to take out. Oh man, what was the name of the dude? The driver.
Kisasaki Teta.
Yeah, Kisasaki has he said Kisasaki has a fascination with them too. So therefore, that's why he keeps trying to kill him. Like, no matter what, it's his goal to kill them. So he has to find out why. Man, dude, if they turn it into like he's in love with Tamakiki and shit, and that's why oh my god, I'm gonna throw my fucking computer to the roof. Dude. Like, oh, Jesus Christ. Oh my goddamn computer.
I hope
you'll be like, Andrew, podcast. I'm podcasting to a goddamn telephone, bro, because I have no fucking computer. Where's the Jesus back after this, man? But yeah, so yeah, it's it's what's his name? Oh shit, I lost it. I forgot his name. Kisaki, he keeps killing him. So yeah, so he has to go back and basically kill Kisaki, man, and see what's up, man. Yeah, like let us know in the comments, man. What are your suggestions, points, anything, man? Because we're always looking to improve. We're always looking to make it better. We're tailoring to what y'all like, what we like, and if you're new to this, hopefully we can give you some good suggestions on, anime to watch, manga to read, and to, really hopefully open some stuff up for y'all. But yeah, absolutely, man. But I am done. You, Nick, anything from you, Master of Masters, King of Kings over here, the Lord of his realm?
Nah, man. If y'all have made it to this point, though, like, subscribe. Man, we appreciate it. We're going to be doing a lot more anime videos for y'all for sure as they come out, because this is a big season for anime, it seems like. Check out in the comments down below or in the section. I'll be having a link to our Facebook group. You can always join it. Memes, videos, everything. You can talk with us, talk to other people in there that are joining the community. And just give us any insight of animes you want us to talk about. I know there's a ton of them, and we'll try to get to most of them for sure. But some of them we probably already watching and going to talk over anyway. But just make sure you do that. Like the video, like what we're doing, hit the like button. Much love. I think we're done.
All right. Peace.
How much I'm working for this? I swear my dreams are too important.